Mason Greenwood to France for his medical. Meanwhile, from France to Manchester, Leny Yoro is at Manchester. And we've got an update as well concerning players we hope to come in soon in the coming days. My name is Webb. Here is a wrap up of what has happened today at Manchester United, and of course, as we look into what we're expecting to happen in the coming days. Like this video, share and subscribe. My name is Webb. Now let's get proper into it. The latest, of course, has been the confirmation that Mason Greenwood was given a private jet. Olympic Marseille sent a private jet to pick him from Manchester, where he was to go in France and finalize his medical ahead of his permanent move to Manchester United. 30 million euros plus add-ons and a 50% sell-on clause for Manchester United is the deal that Inos struck. Well, I will not sit here and praise it and say it's an amazing deal. I've never been for Greenwood leaving, but the boy agreed the terms, the terms between him and Olympic Marseille. And under Roberto Di Zerbi, I'm expecting him to show up and turn up and become the world beater he was destined to be. So let's wait and see what will happen. But very soon that deal will be sealed completely and Mason Greenwood will be an Olympic Marseille player. Now, as away from Greenwood, Leny Yoro, of course, has had his medical today at Manchester. At Manchester United, and he's of course going to be signing a long-term contract up until 2029 rather, with an option of a further 1 year, earning quite a decent amount of money. About 7 million euros is what he's expected to get at Manchester United. He has been fully sold to the idea of joining the club, and of course, you love to see it. And people are already debating about what he adds to the game, but also big credit given to Man United and Inos for being able to secure moves early into this summer, because it's not something we're completely used to. I think it's other clubs that do their business early. United has been for the longest time disorganized and struggle to get players done in the right time. But the other story I want to talk about is two interesting. UGARTE, the guy you see right there on your screen, we hope will be coming in as a number 6, and the other player who United was interested in the same position. Now, here is what is coming, guys, and you should follow this story closely because I think Paris Saint-Germain are completely leading the rest to sign Joao Neves from Benfica, and according to what we get, Neves is also moved by the idea of joining Paris Saint-Germain. I think he has looked around and admitted that it is extremely impossible for any English club to go for him. Remember, Joao Neves was I think one of the first players almost all English clubs were interested in. Almost all English clubs wanted Joao Neves, from Man United, Liverpool, even Arsenal, even Man City at some point was spoken about as interested in him. So never have I imagined that it would end up with him going elsewhere, but not in England. But from the Premier League sustainability rules and how clubs are being careful in terms of how much they spend in this summer, most of the clubs, the big clubs, have dropped off in their interest in him. It's the same story with Nico Williams and Atletico Bilbao, and this is now to the advantage of the other clubs outside England that are interested in these players. Now, for Paris Saint-Germain, for some reason they always have the money. I mean, lots of money to spend on marquee players. What's happening is that they have started talking to the player and his representatives, and in fact, it is said he's excited by the idea. And already, Benfica, who are trying to tie him down on a new contract extension, on a longer contract, were already served their reply. He told them he doesn't want to stay, so he has to move. And if England is not the destination, well, his agent George Mendes could as well, push him to join Paris Saint-Germain. So Joao Neves most likely will join Paris Saint-Germain, and they could be forced to meet his buyout clause, because that's the condition from the Benfica president. Either meet the buyout clause or you bow out. Now, for United, who had bid 60 million euros, PSG comes and bid 70, which I don't think it was accepted. But there is an expectation that Benfica could be forced to cut down on their valuation on that clause. They could be forced to cut down on it. So PSG will still, of course, be willing to step up on the 70 million euros that they bid for him, and perhaps settle somewhere maybe close to 100, which still was on the higher side for English Premier League clubs. Now, when that happens, they definitely then will release Ugarte, who will now be the only other available number 6 for Man United to go for from all those we are seriously linked with. I think we're linked with also Nana. Amadou Nana was, I think, linked with everyone who needed the number 6, but it was never that concrete for Man United. But I think it was always Joao Neves. The only issue was the fee and Manuel Ugarte. So Man United will be then proceeding with Paris Saint-Germain and go for Ugarte. The thing about the Ugarte deal is I think it's almost the same as the Mathis de Ligt deal, and that's why Man United are a bit relaxed about the two deals, because they are direct deals. There is not so much to go back and forth into, because both players want Man United. That's the interesting bit. When the players want you, in most cases, it's difficult when the players don't want you. See, like it was a bit of a struggle to get Leny Yoro. That's why Inos went for that deal first to sort it, because it was complicated, because the player wanted another club. When the player does not really want you, it's a difficult deal to execute. But the thing with Manuel Ugarte and Mathis de Ligt, and why these are obvious deals, if the money is there for Man United, is these two players want Manchester United. So, and the fee they have, and the clubs they play for do not are big clubs, but they don't want them. It's a whole different situation. That you are a big player wanted by playing for a big club, but it doesn't want you. A big club comes and you want it. That's the most easy deal to make in football, I think, in the transfers. So you don't just then waste your important time, your crucial time on such a player. But also, if a player wants you and the club doesn't want them, it gives you a better bargaining position. It puts you in a better position of bargaining that Man United won't be reproved. People are saying, why would Man United that amount of money, about 42 million pounds plus add-ons for a player whose contract is running out the next summer? Yet Real Madrid were willing to wait and get him for free or pay half of that. It's because this is a highly rated player, a generational talent who did not want you. So we're in a way desperate for Leny Yoro than he was desperate for us, if you know what I mean. So it's a whole different case. That's why the Leny Yoro deal is rated as a big achievement by Man United. It's something you can celebrate if you have to. If you celebrate these deals that Man United makes, this is one you can celebrate. You don't need to celebrate de Ligt and Ugarte, because these are players who are not entirely wanted by their clubs. They are players for whom their clubs currently have already got replacements in place. They're only waiting for the right time, the right moment to move and bring in their replacements. So if a player is surplus to requirements and they want whoever wants them, it's easy. That's an easy deal. You get them cheaply, are easy to agree on personal terms, which they have already done, especially with de Ligt. Even with Ugarte, I'm sure Man United will easily agree on the personal terms. So that's the situation that's going on in terms of our transfers at Manchester United. So it's good. But the other thing you need to understand now in the coming days that you need to expect is that Inos are going to be expecting so many bids to come in. We know that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is most likely done at Man United. We know that Casemiro is done. So we expect bids rather, for Casemiro from Saudi to come in, because their transfer window opened today. So very soon they will be putting together their offers and table them. You could crazily expect these Saudi clubs to again resurrect their interest in Bruno Fernandes. If you recall, when I told you that clubs in Saudi were so serious, about two clubs were so serious about signing Bruno Fernandes, and they were willing to break the back. All they wanted was an opportunity to talk to him and confuse him with money and convince him that he can join them at this time, because what they want in this summer going forward is to bring in some players who are still in their formative years, if that's the word, years where there's still football in them, not the usual signing old players who do not want, who are tired of playing, whose bodies cannot allow to play in the Premier League. They want to bring the players who still have that quality in them, world class top footballers, to come and join them. So not rejects of the other leagues in Europe. So they hope they can audaciously come and make place a bid for Bruno Fernandes, and they believe the offer they would want to make for him is undeniable. You cannot refuse it. You cannot say no to the offer. So that's what they are planning to do. So you can imagine what kind of offer that would be. But you never completely write out what money can do to someone. So that could happen. That could happen. But what's a given? I think, is Casemiro, the bid for Casemiro. And when that happens, that's what will then form the basis for Man United proceeding to find to sign UGARTE, who is priced at less than 40 million pounds. So it's going to be quite a busy coming days. We know that Lindelof as well has a 1 year contract trigger that can be triggered in his contract that United opted not to trigger. Same thing with Wan-Bissaka, though his current contract ends in the next summer, but I think it's clear he's almost done. So we are waiting to see. For Scott McTominay, it's possible that he will stay at Man United because I think he was trusted and loved by Erik ten Hag. So that's a bit of where we are. I just wanted to give you perspective. So for Joao Neves, I think Joao Neves is most likely going to join Victor Osimhen at Paris Saint-Germain. That's the reality. Not because of United didn't want him, but because the PSR rules do not allow any club in England, including Man United, to afford a player like Joao Neves and then add on others. There is no way you can do that. So that's why the PSGs will still do this and run away with their French league, but will struggle in Europe because that approach does not entirely work. I think when you I mean, unless you're Real Madrid, who know how to make use of Galacticos, but they balance Galacticos and of course a bit of a built squad. So it's interesting. Let's wait and see how it goes going forward. These PSR rules, I feel, and there are people who are worried that PSR rules might make the English clubs weaker, but actually I think they are going to make them stronger because I think it doesn't take a lot of genius to find players when you're just splashing money. I think you think a lot and make your and sieve the players right if you are sort of limited, if you are constrained in terms of what you can do. If you have little options, you think and get the best. You're forced to react and think harder and search harder and take your time. I feel like these new PSR rules will make the Premier League more competitive. It will spread the competition because clubs can sign players who are close to the same, nearly close to the same levels. That you won't have cases where an Ipswich player is far off the quality of a Man City or Man United player. For me, I think that's good. But also in terms of the wages, because they are going to keep players now. Because what Saudi was doing, if the Premier League maintained the same open approach to making signings, then it would be difficult for them to compete with the Saudi leagues that are the Saudi league that's emerging. Because if you're bringing money, if money is what you use to bargain, you can't beat them when it comes to that. So you're going to be fighting a lost war. But if you stick to your guns and trust the brands you have and the quality of the football, and you're saying you're bringing players not because they're going to earn the best amount of money in the world like it used to be, but you're bringing them to play for the most prestigious clubs in the world, and that's that's what you sell to them. You convince them that way. I think football is then winning. So I think not going the money way, which is where football was headed, especially in England, I think is going to save the game. And I think it is the easiest way for them to deal with the emerging Saudi markets that they cannot compete with. They're just crazy. Wherever they get their money from, the oil and gas, what have you, it's insane. You can't explain how you are £1 million per week, or even if it's a month, you can't explain it. It's insane. But that's the Saudi league for you. So I feel like it's good, and it's becoming tighter, a game of chess now. And I love how Inos are handling this game. They are winning. They are making their moves early. Clearly, they had their plan in place. They knew the players they wanted to go for, and they are going for them. Beautiful stuff. My name is Webb. This is the United Health Sport. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. And let me catch you later, fam.